And he didn't say nothing. So I just stood there. I was like, okay, I'm going to stand here. And I said, when the contraction leaves, because I was still having contractions while I was standing up. I said, when this one leaves, let's get in the tub. So they said, okay. And I'm still, the fact that I'm able to be coherent and I'm like giving everybody instructions during this time is supernatural.
Yeah.
That was supernatural in and of itself, because everybody says like you can't even think straight during that time. But I was able to do that.
Yeah, most of the time you were very coherent. So
yeah, so they were like, okay. So the contraction left, and I said, okay, let's get in the tub. They had to put the mat out and everything. Y'all, I turned around. I took 2 steps toward the tub, and I felt like I was gonna boo boo on myself. I did. Like, I was like, they was like, what? I was like, I feel like I'm about to boo boo on myself. And they was like,
get back on the bed.
No, get back on the bed. Get back on the bed. No tub for you. No.
I already knew what that meant. I knew what that meant too, because of training. They told us. It was like, oh,
in childbirth training,
like,
they
it's
tell
gonna feel
you,
like you need to use the bathroom. That means
you
there.
feel like you have to go poop. You do not have to go poop. I don't care. You may feel like it. Like, no, for real, I have to go poop. They're like, no, you don't. When you get that feeling, that means the baby is getting ready to come out, and it feels like you have to go poop, but you do not have to go poop. So as soon as I said that, they were like, oh, get on the bed. We have to check you, like right now.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I knew that from class, but in my mind, I was just kind of like, am I really at this stage already? Like,
because it came so quick.
It came so fast. Like, everything was happening so fast. I was like, I mean, I know that that's what that means, but like, is this kid seriously about to come out right now? I tell y'all what, 5 minutes later, he was here. It probably may not even been 5 minutes, because they went to check me and they were like, oh my gosh, she's fully dilated. Bye, Asia. Thank you for tuning in. I'll show the baby one more time, because some of y'all gotta go, and I want y'all to see him little face. He's just down here just being adorable. Just being adorable. Hi, this is little Rodney. Rodney Young the Third. Rodney Price Young the Third. Hello. Thank you. Yeah, he's a little out of it because I fed him before I got on Scope.
Milk wasted.
Yeah, so he's breast milk wasted and chilling out. So, thank you. So, yeah, the doctor was on her way. They started, when I said I felt like I had to go poop, they were just like, oh, she got on the phone. She was like, I need a birthing table. I need this. I need that. She was like, I need all this stuff. So she's running around because she knows, like, oh my God, it's time. Where's the doctor? The doctor's not even here yet. And like, she's on her way. And they're like, she's fully effaced. Like, it's time to start pushing. So the doctor came in, they were helping her get in her scrubs and stuff, and she just basically ran in the room to catch, because that's literally what happened. Like, she came in, and she was like, okay, and they told Rodney, like, you can help, grab her leg, and it was like, you have to push, and I pushed once, and they were like, okay. Rodney's like, I see his hair, like, he's right there, I see him, and I was just like, okay, so I pushed again, and then they were like, okay, you're going to have to do it. Like, you don't want him to be stuck. That's a really uncomfortable position for him to be stuck in. So you have to do it. And I was like, okay, I sure don't. I sure don't, because it wasn't an uncomfortable position for me either. So I knew I had to not prolong this thing. I just took a deep breath, pushed with all my might, and he came out.
Boom.
Came out. Shortest. My doctor was like, that was the shortest delivery ever. Like, Induced. So I said, okay, everything that could have possibly came up to discourage us from the fact that this was going to be a supernatural childbirth came up. We had been given drugs that were supposed to make everything worse, and everything was easier. So did we have a supernatural childbirth even though I had to be induced? Yes. Was it completely and utterly pain-free? No. But was the pain manageable, and did God give me the grace to get through it? Yes. And I know it was him because I know how I am. I don't have I'm telling y'all, I don't have a high pain tolerance. Yeah. See, I was in labor for 43 hours and
so
it was
you know
induced.
how it is.
So you know, induced labor is like the worst kind of labor there is. So I said, I have to share my story because I want to help somebody who may be believing for supernatural childbirth. And then they find out they have to be induced or they have to or whatever. Our hope is not lost.
Right.
If an intervention that you didn't plan for comes up, do not allow the devil to steal your faith and your testimony from you. Like, you have to stay in faith. Okay, this came up. I didn't prepare for it, but God is still with me in this moment, and I'm still going to have supernatural childbirth. You have to allow you and God in that moment to define what supernatural is.
Exactly, and that's the key. And
that's the very key point, because we have our own conception of what the supernatural thing is going to be.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but God knows exactly what's going to happen, and know this, like, that if you're believing for it to happen a certain way and certain things are happening that come up that are different, if you feel like you're trying to still prove yourself, even to yourself, if you're trying to prove something to someone, that's the point where you need to back up and say, wait, let me just readjust here. This may not be supernatural. This might be pride.
Yes.
This might be me being prideful, just trying to prove to everybody that I can push out a baby without drugs, and at that point, that's when you start getting in trouble. And so, like pride and, faith, they don't work together.
There's a very thin line between being in faith and being a religious nut.
Yeah.
It's so thin, y'all. It's so thin. And the reason I say that is because they even talk about it in the book, about cases where people were just like, okay, I'm having a supernatural childbirth, so God told me to have my baby at home. And they had no idea what they were doing. They never had a kid before, but they just felt like God told them to have their baby at home. And the authors of the book were saying, the husband got on the phone and called Terry, who's a minister, and said, my wife won't go to the hospital. What should I do? And he said, put her on the phone. And so Terry, the co-author of this book, is saying, have you ever had a child before? She's like, no. He said, God did not tell you to have your baby at home. You need to get to the hospital. You're going to put yourself in danger. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Let the doctors help you. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with your faith. You just need to go to the hospital and let the doctors help you. This particular case in the book that he talked about, this woman held on so long and said, no. She told him, no, I'm standing on faith. I'm standing on faith.
The author of Supernatural Childbirth.
Right. I'm like, this is the co-author of the book telling you, honey, that's cool, but just go to the hospital. And she's like, no. Long story short, the husband just couldn't take it no more and just got her to the hospital. Y'all, she got there. It was almost no amniotic fluid around the baby. The baby was breech. If she would have stayed at home, her and the baby would have died. She got to the hospital and they delivered the baby via emergency C-section or whatever it was. But yeah, so very thin line between standing in faith and being a religious nut, okay? You have to hear God. You have to hear God. And I had to be like, okay, let me listen to what the doctors are telling me. Yes, I'm standing in faith, but, there's a reason for concern or else they wouldn't be trying to induce me. Let me just listen. Yeah. Because who wants to live with that for the rest of their life, that because I was standing in faith, I wouldn't go to the delivery room and then something ended up being wrong and my baby died. That would have been horrible. Talk about guilt. I would have felt bad for the rest of my life. You have to, let's not get crazy with this thing. Yeah, okay? Exactly. You really have to hear the voice of God and trust him. Even if something unexpected comes up, trust him to make it good.
Yeah. And people have different levels of faith too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Catch the replay. We knew this was going to be a longer scope.
We'll probably put it on YouTube.
We're going to put it on YouTube because we wanted to share our story and hopefully help somebody. So, was there anything else you wanted to add?
One last thing. I mean, you
Hey,
just,
man.
I think one of the big things that has been helpful throughout this entire process
Bye.
is that we couldn't just believe everything everybody said. And
Right.
people have their well-meaning, in their, suggestions and stuff, and all their testimonies and advice, but you can't receive it all.
You can't.
And
You can't.
there's been many cases where I've had to just smile, and then when they walk away, say, "Satan, I rebuke you in Jesus' name." We're not having that. Because they'll try to project their experience on you.
Yes,
and
they will.
If you allow them to project it on you, then you're going to start to internalize that and start expecting the same thing for you. And so we had to be really, really intentional about not receiving everybody's horror stories.
Yeah.
About childbirth and saying, you know what, that was their experience. I'm sorry they had to go through that. But we're not
that's
going
not
through
gonna
that.
be my experience.
You know what I mean? We're not receiving that. We believe God
And
wants better.
I don't know why people do that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's like they hear you're pregnant and they feel like it's their civic duty to tell you,
to give you advice.
To give you advice and like stupid advice, or to just tell you like stuff like, "Girl, that pain is gonna be terrible." Why would you tell somebody
right.
that?
like what's the point in making someone afraid?
What motive would you have for telling somebody that?
Yeah, so we had to
So you have to tune all.
Yeah, we had
out.
to be real intentional about tuning things out, sticking to what we knew, what we believed, and then also.
And even after childbirth, you still have to tune people out because it's the baby is gonna change everything. Girl, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing.
He's gonna take over.
Forget that acting and modeling. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing. What else have we heard? Stupid stuff.
That it's no longer going to be about the two.
It's not
of you.
about you. It's not going to be about you.
No, specifically the two of you. It's no longer going to be about y'all. It's going to all be about this baby.
You have to give everything up for your baby.
While that's well-meaning, and I see where people are coming from, because this dude demands a lot. Trust. Like, we've been, the 90% of everything that's been happening around here has been for him lately. However, to say that everything is no longer going to be about the marriage and it's going to be all about the child, I believe is actually a mistake. That's just where we are. We don't believe that our household should be child-centered. We think it should be marriage-centered, because one of the best things we can do for him is
give him a secure base.
Yeah, and be a strong marriage. That makes him feel secure, and that makes him feel confident. And so, for us, it is still about us.
Yes.
It is still about us.
Please, married people, get this.
And so, although, time-wise, yes, we're giving more to him. You know what I mean? We still do it under the banner of this strong marriage. And we're still looking at guarding the marriage and making sure that the baby doesn't divide us. Like, we're being intentional. We're asking God for grace, to keep our marriage in the forefront. And so, as we're taking care of the kid, like,
Thank you for the heart.
Thank you. I'm monitoring our relationship. I'm noticing how we're interacting, and making sure that we don't get so out of sync, that we don't know each other anymore, that we're mad or, whatever it may be,
Exactly.
Like, if I notice, and like for me, it's noticing that I've got to be supportive of her, and that's going to help the marriage. You know what I mean? That she's going through an entire experience, physically, emotionally, that I'm not going through, and I got to be there for her during that process. And for me, I know that that's going to build our marriage, and so that's important to me. You know what I mean? Now, if I wasn't thinking like that, I think everything about, well, is he okay? Does he have everything? She's doing a great job at that. I think my job is to make sure she's okay. And in turn, that keeps things stable. And I want to make sure that he grows up in a household where he sees a strong marriage, that he sees mommy and daddy love each other and they take time for each other. And it's going to give him a good view for his marriage. It's going to make sure he marries somebody with some sense.
Yes.
And ends up being a good man. And so that's all. We just wanted to just share our experience, and we just thank you guys.
Thank you all so much.
People have been praying, and that's been another thing.
Thank you for your prayers, your support. Oh my gosh. Hey, Ann, thank you, honey. We love you too.
People who have been, big part of this, we've been having really good friends who have faith,
Yes.
who understand where we're at, to believe God with us. And that's also been a big part of it. And so we thank you guys. I mean, we have friends who've been believing with us for supernatural childbirth. And so we've been contacting them, and they've been very supportive along the way. So
those were the people we texted in the delivery room.
We didn't text everybody.
We didn't text everybody. We just texted those people and said, okay, it's happening. And they went into prayer. So thank you all so much. We're about to log off, and the baby is sleeping. So every parent knows that is very valuable time. When he sleeps, you get to do stuff like shower.
Or nap.
Nap. Yes. Eat. So yeah, we're going to take advantage of this time while Prince Young is sleeping to go and do those things. Well, we already showered, obviously. But
yeah, he's taking his royal nap right now.
We're hungry. We fed him, and now we're hungry. But thank you for tuning in. We love you guys so much.
Thank you.
And I hope that this has helped you. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
This is me. Oh, you guys are up the street. Awesome. I'm gonna let the last shot be of this. He looks so peaceful. Thank you, Anne. Yep, him sleeping. So we're gonna go and we're gonna get us some stuff done while he's asleep. Thank you all so much for tuning in. God bless you all, and goodbye.